It's a cold and chilly Wednesday evening, rainy as well here in Portland for the final night of the Timbers preseason tournament. The Portland Timbers and Vancouver Whitecaps finishing things off, trying to break a trend. 5 straight draws we've seen at this tournament. The Whitecaps and Timbers both hope to change that in the final preseason tune-up for the Whitecaps. The one for the Timbers as both teams continue their journey towards the 2017 regular season. Good evening and welcome to our broadcast booth above the pitch here at Providence Park. I'm Jake Ziven alongside Ross Smith. Tonight's match is going to look more realistic, like a real game than maybe the previous ones in this preseason tournament. We saw big line changes from the Timbers in their first 2 matches. We're not going to have that tonight, Ross, as Caleb Porter tries to get his guys, his team, a realistic match before the 2017 regular season.
And that's just it. It's all about the reality. It's going to look like a realistic 11, except for the absence of Sebastian Blanco. Esprilla will come in to fill in for him, who's out of town, making his way back to Portland. You look at realistic minutes, the team will be expected to get a lot of minutes in there, perhaps 90 minutes out of players, and a realistic purpose to this. Caleb Porter will be sending that message to the guys, let's go out and win the game. Let's go get those 3 points of what would be during the season, because you want to establish that taste. You want to establish that feel amongst the guys.
We didn't see a win on Sunday. The Timbers a 2-2 draw against Minnesota United, but Caleb Porter was so pleased with how his final group played. Essentially, the guys who we expect to see starting, they played the last 30 minutes, and they dominated against Minnesota on Sunday.
There was an air of excitement, wasn't there, when the guys came on. Final half hour, but as Caleb Porter said, well, it's easy enough doing it for 30 minutes. It's another thing doing it for a duration of the match. And I think a lot of talk this year, Jake, is going to be about this attack and the different ways that the front 4, the front 5, 6 can get at teams. But I was so impressed with Alvis Powell's play and the way he was overlapping, combining with Blanco, and being able to stand up the ball, find Fernando Adi, and put it into areas for him to go and get his goals. And with that talk of Blanco, Negri, Valeri, Adi being able to get through teams, all of a sudden, if Alvis Powell can add this part to his game, how dynamic this Timbers attack becomes. I think it makes it very difficult to stop. And when you have a right back such as Alvis Powell bombing down that side, picking out the passes that he was able to the other night, and Fernando Adi getting on the end.
Tonight's opponent, the Vancouver Whitecaps, of course, a Cascadia rival of the Timbers. They'll play 3 times in the regular season and now once in the preseason. This gives us a chance to see what Vancouver's all about in 2017. They made a big move this morning, signing former Seattle Sounder Fredy Montero as a designated player. We're not going to see him tonight. He just joined the team today. What we're going to see, Ross, is a pretty similar group to what we're used to, 24 guys back for Vancouver this year.
Yeah, an absolute massive signing today with Fredy Montero, and all of a sudden Vancouver Whitecaps have a lot more excitement about their team. It's a position that they've been needing to fill for a few years now. They've gone out in the offseason and they've brought in attacking midfielder Ori Reina, who is going to start the match on the bench, but expect to see him. He's been a lively player. He's been very exciting to watch in this preseason so far. Alfonso Davies as well, the youngster, 16-year-old left footer. He's got all these big clubs across in Europe looking at him. He's been an exciting prospect, huge potential, and that is the key word with Vancouver Whitecaps, is potential. But this year they need to turn that into product.
Alfonso Davies, the 16-year-old youngest player in MLS, will start for Vancouver today. We will not see Kekuta Manneh. He is on the bench to begin this match. We'll have the full starting lineups after the national anthems, but as you alluded to, and we alluded to, Ross, for the Timbers, this is pretty much a realistic starting 11 for them. We won't see Sebastian Blanco, the new designated player, today. He's in Argentina, moving his wife now up to Portland. Of course, it's such things that you have to do when you live a real life outside of the game. So no Blanco today. We'll see Esprilla instead. But this is a strong group from Caleb Porter. And to go further into the point that he made us, he's really happy with how this group has played in the preseason.
I just get the feeling, if you're Fernando Adi, Diego Valeri, and you're in that change room before you come out, when you're tying up your boots, and then you pick your head up, you look around, and the talent that's around you, you're going to enjoy stepping onto that pitch even more. Fernando Adi, 3 goals so far this preseason. Diego Valeri, 2 goals. So they've continued the form in front of goal that they showed last season. The one area, though, Jake, that Caleb Porter and the Timber staff have continued to say they need to plug is another centre back. And so that has been highly sought after, is to go out and find, whether it's a starting centre back to go in beside Liam Ridgewell or that added body after Benga Arakoya went out injured. So that is an area that they just feel they need to bring in order for them to be completely well versed amongst this side. But as you say, plenty of talent on that team for Caleb Porter to pick from.
Tonight, for the third straight time, it will be Lawrence Olam paired with Liam Ridgewell as what you could call the first choice center backs for the Timbers. We will have the starting 11s from both teams. We will have the kickoff of the Timbers and the Whitecaps after the national anthems.
We see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Not quite there yet, but it's beginning to feel closer and closer to the real deal here at Providence Park. The second to last preseason match for the Timbers. They will play against LA in about a week and a half in the final tune-up before they open the season on March 3rd. Here's the starting 11 for Caleb Porter. A 4-2-3-1 tonight. We mentioned Sebastian Blanco is in Argentina, moving his wife back to Portland, so Dairon Asprilla starts on the right. This is a realistic starting 11 for Caleb Porter.
And it's a big night for Dairon Asprilla, him coming in for the absent Blanco. And Asprilla, I think he's going to get a real boost of confidence, thinking, right, if I'm not in the starting 11, then I'm first off the bench there. You're getting a little window into Caleb Porter's mind of what the pecking order is like. So look for him to try and impress Fernando Wadi. Look for him to be that pillar up front for Valeri Nagbe, just to bounce balls off of and to get in that attack.
Caleb Porter's counterpart at Vancouver, Carl Robinson, entering his 4th season, and David Osted back for another year. Goal. It's a 4-2-3-1 from Vancouver, and it's a lot of familiar names. Despite finishing 8th in the West last year, they didn't change a lot. There's only one new player in their starting 11 today. It's a rookie, the first-round pick at right back, Jake Nerwinski.
Yeah, and there's players that are going to have to change their form. going off of last season, need to be better. Osted in goal 2 years ago was the main man. Last year, you could say average subpar season. Same with Kendall Waston. Such a force, him and Parker potentially, but they have to have a good season. In front of them, Matthias Laba, Seibert, they're nice and solid, dogged performers. They'll look to get around and try and disrupt the Timbers. Giles Barnes coming over from Houston Dynamo, really looking to get on the score sheet more. And then up front, De Jong whipping balls in with his nice left peg. Hurtado looking to get on the end of him, but Alfonso Davies, the 16-year-old, plenty of excitement around this player. Nice left foot, coming off as an inverted winger, inverted midfielder, likes to cut inside. He's got plenty of pace.
He's the youngest player in MLS. He was the third youngest ever to sign when he did so last summer. Alfonso Davies, already 2 goals, 2 assists in the preseason. He's done very well for Vancouver. There is Caleb Porter, entering his 5th season in charge of Portland Timbers. Really pleased with the depth that this team, this 2017 roster has, wanting to get back to what it was like in 2015 roster when they made the run to MLS Cup. So many players contributed. He thinks they're getting there, that they're closer to where they were 2 years ago.
There's a sense of freedom about their play. They were unshackled the other night when they came on. There was a sense of enjoyment and freedom. And you look at last year, they were really kicked into the gear. You go back to that MLS Cup run, the final 9 games undefeated. They were just playing with reckless abandon, as though they were stepping on the pitch without a worry and without a doubt that they were going to come away with the victory.
Jake Gleason will begin the match in goal. Led MLS last season, 118 saves. There's Darlington Nagbe. We know what he can do, and we're underway. The Portland Timbers and the Vancouver Whitecaps. The final match of the Timbers preseason tournament.
We talked in the opening just with the Timbers wanting to have that purpose about that match to go on and get their first win of the preseason. The Vancouver Whitecaps, they got CCL, Jake, and it's such an important week for them into next week. The Red Bulls, they're going to be playing back-to-back, and so they'll want this final tune-up to be as close to perfection as they're hoping for to get going before the competition really heats up.
The Timbers, their eyes are on Friday, March 3rd, the regular season opener, when Minnesota United takes on the Timbers here at 6:30, the first match of the entire league. Vancouver, they have to play, as you mentioned, a week from today against New York in CCL play. Dairon Asprilla coming forward. It's a little behind Diego Chara, slowing down the attack for now. Next Wednesday, 5 o'clock Pacific time, Vancouver will play the first leg of that quarterfinal at New York. So this, for them, this is their final tune-up. I mean, more so than the Timbers. Caleb Porter wants this to be like a real match. Carl Robinson, that emphasis is even more heightened because their time frame is a lot shorter.
You got to look at it. It's a Cascade rivalry as well. It's a team you're going to see plenty of, and I think when you're going against such a close rivalry, a derby match you could call it, you always want to stamp your authority upon them. You always want to be superior in every aspect of the club's, whether it's the player personnel, whether it's everything from the fan base, whatever it is, you want to be better at it. And so it starts there on the soccer pitch for the bragging rights.
Well, we've seen it in this tournament in years past between these two teams. It has felt like a regular season match. We've seen red cards. Vitas.
Just watching early on with Matthias Laba and Seibert, the amount of attention that they're going to be looking to give Diego Valeri, Darlington Nagbe, whenever they come in the central areas, those two are going to be working their tails off in order to try and keep Valeri, Nagbe as calm as possible.
Laba and Tybert, a pair of guys that the Timbers will certainly know well. Tybert's one of just 2 MLS originals still on this Vancouver roster. Jordan Harvey, he's starting at left back tonight, is the other.
He's done well to earn his keep, Tybert. I don't think you get a lot of flash out of him going forward, but what he does is he takes a role from Carl Robinson and he'll execute that, he'll put it into play, stepping onto the pitch and make sure that he looks after his assignment very well. And I think his assignment tonight will be just that. Sit in front of the back 4, make sure nothing goes through you.
Nagbe combines with Valeri. Now into the feet of Adi. It ends up with Chara. Asprilla looking for Valeri on the back post. And that came off of a Whitecaps defender. That's off Nerwinski, the rookie, and it's the first corner of the match for Portland.
Not a bad ball from Asprilla. He's hit it heavy, gone to the back stick. At least he's put it somewhere where the defense of the Whitecaps have to do something for it.
Alejandro Mariscal is our referee tonight, having a brief chat before this corner. Came off Olam. That was an important touch from Davies as Nagbe was lurking. Oh, Nagbe gets around Davies. Pressured from De Jong. Asprilla calling for the ball on the right side. He'll get it. That'll be another corner. It's off De Jong.
It's a good start for the Timbers. Caleb Porter talked this week, Jake, just about this potentially being one of the most technical teams that he has managed, and you can see why early on. You've got players who want to get on the ball. You've got an 11 who are very good, very efficient at looking after the ball, and creative minds going forward as well.
That will only increase when Sebastian Blanco is in the team as the corner is cleared away by Tim Parker.
Well, it's just interesting you say that, because I was wondering with Asprilla coming out, he's more raw than what Blanco is. So when the ball is being combined and going through tight little areas, that's not really Asprilla's game. He is more out and out, get the ball into him and be direct. And so it'll be neat just to see if he can inflict and impact the game the way he wants to do. And he doesn't need to be Sebastian Blanco, he needs to be Daron Asprilla tonight.
Giles Barnes out wide to the 16-year-old Alphonso Davies. Nerwinski overlapping. Davies running at Vitas. Davies gets past Vitas, and he will earn Vancouver's first corner of the match.
Davies is that type of player where his pace can be somewhat deceptive at times. He's got these long legs. And so when he's touching that ball and he's running at you as a defender, you may think, I can get a bite here. I can step in and get a foot, where with those long legs, he gets that toe poke at the last second and can nip around you.
He was signed to Vancouver in the summer, was initially signed to Whitecaps FC2, Vancouver's USL affiliate, as a 15-year-old. The youngest player in USL history. Didn't take him long to get the call up to the first team. De Jong drives the corner in, dangerous ball, comes off Asprilla, still not out of danger. Chara tried to spring the break, it went to Laba.
That's what you're going to see so much of this year is Guzman Chara, that relationship. Well, Guzman goes in for a challenge. If he doesn't win it, Diego Chara is right behind him, ready to put a foot in.
It looked like a handball. Alejandro Mariscal says play on. Advantage for the Timbers. Vitas down the line for Asprilla. First time attempt from Vitas didn't come off. Adi tracking back to win it back for the Timbers. Vitas will get another chance to send it into the box. Picked out Adi. Oh, that was a nice layoff. It just didn't come off, but it was close.
Saw it well, Valeri, didn't he? That entry pass into Adi. Valeri just looking to run beyond, and Adi, he recognized it well. You can just see it's a little flick, but Waston didn't quite get his feet sorted out, but it was enough to take it away from Valeri. The well-organized Vancouver Whitecaps, you can clearly see when the Timbers are getting on the ball, it's that two banks of four, making sure they're nice and compact, that midfield to the back four, so they're leaving as little space as possible for players like Valeri to get in between the layers of the defensive line in the midfield.
Eric Hurtado, the Beaverton, Oregon native. Davies couldn't handle it. It's wet out there. It's been raining all day. It continues to come down steadily. Nothing that these two clubs aren't used to.
Just seen Jordan Harvey here lacing up his boots. I think he has done so well to stand the test of time in this league, and I look at young potential for Whitecaps players that Carl Robinson was looking to bring through. Sam Adekugbe was a player that had a lot of promise. He couldn't get in the game. He couldn't get in the team. He was sent off on loan to Brighton over in England, and he stayed there. And I think that's a big credit and testament to Jordan Harvey, where it looked like he was on his way out, that he was just filling a position until Sam Adekugbe was ready to go. But he staked that claim and he stayed there. And you look at the Whitecaps having a disappointing year last year. Jordan Harvey had a good one.
He was the player of the year for Vancouver in 2016. He's Vancouver's all-time leader in MLS starts, games, and minutes. Now in his 6th season with the Whitecaps, 12th overall in MLS. He's had quite a career, 33 years old. Still looks primed to be the starting left back for Vancouver. The Timber supporters here at Providence Park don't like the call from Alejandro Mariscal.
Well, neither does Fernando Adi. What you'll see is some grappling going on, a little shirt pulling. From our view, it looked like it was both ways.
Yeah, he didn't like it either, did he, Caleb Porter? Nerwinski serves. Waston put it into a dangerous spot. Gleason was there in the end.
I think that's good awareness by Ridgewell, because if that's a ball, he goes up and he can't really win it. He's always going over his head, whether he glances it into an area for another Whitecaps player to come. He's well aware behind him there was a bit of space for it to drop into.
Ridgewell's ball cut off by Davies.
The Whitecaps are managing the start to this match in a nice fashion. See, now they're controlling the ball. I was interested to see how they would look after the preseason that they took on, going across to Wales, playing against teams that you can say weren't the senior teams. It was, for the major part of it, made up of U23 players. And so I just wondered, with them going across to England, how that would be and how that would set them up in fitness and confidence.
And they put 3 matches over there, all against under 23 teams. Bristol City, Oxford United, Cardiff City. Won 2 of them 4-0. Lost against Cardiff City, their first preseason match, 1-0.
And what you can see from it, Jake, is they're well organized. Of course, they look fit. Every team's going to look fit at the start of the match, getting across the ground. And you have to remember, there's a couple big guns on the bench right now that we'll expect to see later in the match. So when you look for real quality on the match, Kekuta Manneh, likely see him tonight. Jordi Reyna, the new addition to their team as well. Those are 2 impact difference makers.
Shouts for a handball, not given. Saw Reyna score his first goal as a Whitecap on Sunday in Vancouver's 1-1 draw against Real Salt Lake. Vancouver has drawn both of their matches here at the preseason tournament by identical 1-1 scorelines, first against Minnesota, then Real Salt Lake. The Timbers also with 2 draws. It was 3-3 against RSL last Thursday night, then 2-2 against Minnesota on Sunday. We had a 3-3 draw earlier today between RSL and Minnesota. A late equalizer, the final kick of the match from Minnesota gave us our 5th straight draw here at the Timbers preseason tournament.
Just seen Ridgewell on the ball. It hasn't quite come off for him at the start of this match with his passing.
Guzman into the corner for Powell. First time ball. Almost did get through to Nagbe. Now Valeri. Nagbe. Powell, service. Easy for Osted.
Not a bad ball from Alvis Powell there. Just needed the runners, needed some bodies in the box. When he picked his head up, didn't really have many options there. When he got it out of his feet, he thought, right, let me just put it in there and see what happens.
Asprilla wins it back for the Timbers. Has Adi in the box. Parker had to get it to safety, and it's the fourth corner kick of the match for the Timbers.
Good energy by Asprilla, nice and powerful. Couldn't get the finishing product there. Adi, very similar to the goal he scored the other night, just coming across that front stick.
We'll make that the third corner for Portland. Valeri serving it into the box. Adi got his head to it. Couldn't keep it down.
It's a good ball by Valeri. It was always going to be difficult for Fernando Adi, just as he's going away from the ball. You can see that he's just a bit in front of it, and he's trying to bring his neck back around and trying to get the right contact. He's always going over.
Fernando Adi, 2 goals, 3 goals this preseason.
Just get the feeling the Timbers can go up another level, another 2 levels. What we saw the other night, that final half hour, it was exciting. It was as though Caleb Porter said, right, just go on there, have some fun, enjoy yourself and play with freedom. Risky there.
Dangerous back ball with the head from David Guzman, but Gleason was there before Eric Hurtado. And another giveaway. Hurtado's onside. Ridgewell will get there first and just play it out to safety.
Well, it's unlike Ridgewell. What's a strong part of his game is his ability to hit passes. He's very technical. You could say one of the best passers of a ball for that centre-back position in the league. Hasn't come off for him so far.
Guzman draws the foul. Different feel first 15 minutes today than, as you mentioned, the last half hour against Minnesota, even that first half against Salt Lake when it's pretty much the same team out. What's Vancouver done differently?
I think just so well organized, and I think the mentality and their approach to start this match, where you can see what they're looking to do, just disrupt the Timbers. You look at the mentality of the midfield for Vancouver Whitecaps, Seibert, Laba, even De Jong, who was a left back, who's perhaps been shifted into this midfield more attacking role, but those are players who think defense first, who think get behind the ball first of all. So you have that many players getting behind the ball, they're always going to disrupt the opposition.
Barnes and Chara go back and forth, taking it off each other. Barnes came away with it. Nothing came from it. Now Teibert steps up to win it back for Vancouver.
Just wonder, and I think players need to guard against this as well. When you go on for that final half hour, and as electric as it was, you know it's only going to be half hour, so you can run yourself into the ground. There was a big lift from the crowd, whereas now you have to manage the game. Where some players maybe are given the instruction, you're going to be 90 minutes tonight, and I think it's almost to a fault that a player can think, right, let me manage my way through the match. Whereas it's preseason. If you're going to blow up after the 60 minutes, blow up. Try not to just save and conserve your energy. You got to make sure that you make it as realistic as possible. And I always think if you blow up, then you blow up, so be it. But you got to go for it, and you got to put in the realistic minutes.
We expect most of these starters to play 90 minutes for the Timbers to treat this like it's a regular season match. Still 2.5 weeks, under 2.5 weeks now until the season opener. Vitas, he was looking for Adi, didn't come off. Oh, Ridgewell got it caught in his feet, ended up getting it to Guzman.
I think as a manager as well, Jake, when it's not going for you or quite clicking into gear, you want to see what your players are about. Can they figure it out? You got enough leaders in there, and Guzman coming across. I think more and more as the season progresses, he'll turn himself into one of the dominating leaders in this team.
Valeri sprung through. Adi couldn't get on the end of it. Asprilla might. Still there for the Timbers. Harvey goes down. Asprilla working hard and is called for a foul.
Was better, more positive from the Timbers. You just look how high up Vitas is playing there, and so instead of the Timbers trying to find their way through the middle, push the fullbacks on, and if you get the right ball into them, then they're further up the pitch, getting the crosses in, affecting the game. That was Vitesse's ball in, and Asprilla, he's fighting for it. I think there's a few fouls going on over there, 6 one way, half a dozen the other. A little bit hard on Asprilla.
De Jong for Barnes. Powell was able to send it out. That's off Alves. Came off the corner flag, so it'll be a deep throw for Vancouver.
I'm interested to see Giles Barnes and his approach to this season. A lot of talk and rumours of him going to Blackburn Rovers in the off-season. We saw the way he finished the year against the Timbers, a couple of goals, and he looked unstoppable. And I think if you're a Whitecap supporter, you're wondering, well, where is that? Where has that been all of a sudden, final game of the year?
He didn't score in his first 9 appearances for Vancouver after coming over in a mid-season trade with Houston. Then, well, we know what happened in the final match of the year at BC Place. First half brace in Vancouver's 4-1 win over Portland. Harvey, nobody there for Vancouver.
Look at Laba. Look how far out of his pocket he has come to try and prevent Nagbe from turning up the pitch.
How did the Timbers take advantage of that?
I think you got to move the ball quickly. If Laba vacates that position, can he get another player into that area once Nagbe pops the ball off? That goes again to the quality of the Timbers attack, and you put the likes of Sebastian Blanco in there. If you're going to concentrate all your attention on Nagbe, well, guess what? There's a couple other players by the name of Diego Valeri, Sebastian Blanco, Fernando Wadi that you're going to have to worry about. So I think with Laba, you got to pick those moments when you come out or when you sit.
Nagbe turns around Laba, tries from distance, it's over the bar.
We're seeing a more selfish Darlington Nagbe this season, having attempts from distance, and just here as he gets wrong side of Matthias Laba, doesn't think twice, strides onto it well, 20 yards away. I think for his standard, he'll be thinking he should be at least testing David Ousted.
You like that Nagbe, that more aggressive Nagbe?
Yeah. U.S. men's national team against Serbia. He took a lot of criticism from people saying that one play he had, he should have popped off to Altidore, and I thought, nobody's ever happy. They say he's got to be more selfish, and then the time he is selfish, they say, well, you should have passed to Altidore. But make your mind up. You'd much rather see a player be selfish, go for goals, especially when you have the ability that Darlington Nagbe possesses.
Imagine Timbers supporters chuckling when hearing that. Always Darlington taking it from distance, I think, is always going to make everyone happy. Valeri's offside. The flag comes up as he gets behind the Vancouver back line.
Good spot by Ridgewell. I think that shows you the experience there, where the start of the game with his passing hasn't come off, but he's never shrinks back. He'll still go for it, and that's what his quality can give you. He sees a line pushed up. If he gets the run, then he can just drop it over top of the back line.
Asprilla had to go 1-on-4. 4 white jerseys surrounding him. He won a throw.
Look at Vitesse, how high up he is there. All of a sudden now you're transferring that ball, you're getting the team up the pitch. His positioning is much better, it's higher up. Now you're getting through that midfield. You're getting the midfield of the Whitecaps turned around and going back the wrong way.
He wasn't able to keep it in play. Nagbe leaves for Valeri, picks out Adi, maybe Asprilla. That was blocked well by Harvey.
Well worked by the Timbers. Good spacing in the box as well. Fernando Adi taking attention towards that front stick, and Asprilla just almost got an end of that pass coming through. Referee just having a quick word with Jordan Harvey off the ball.
You can hear the shouts immediately from the crowd.
That's what they do. And any time that you can get a hand, an arm on the player to try and throw them off, just frustrates the players.
Vitas picks out Adi. Couldn't handle it. Nerwinski did well to hold off Fernando Adi.
Yeah, didn't he? That's a position that the Whitecaps have needed to address in the offseason. Last year, Jordan Smith didn't work out. Fraser Aird on loan from Rangers. He's gone back to Scotland, playing for Falkirk now. And that's an area that they've needed to figure out.
Jake Nerwinski was their first-round pick, 7th overall out of UConn. He's getting that start tonight, getting that look at right back. This is Alphonso Davies. Tybert picks out Harvey. Spria back to win it for the Timbers. Guzman turns, starts the break, finds Nagbe.
It's good stuff. Both sets of teams, the wide play. Alphonso Davies just getting back to help out. On the other end, when it was Davies running at Vitas, it was Nagbe getting back. As the ball was transferred, it was Spria getting back to help out his fullback. I think you like to see as a defender when your attack-minded players are willing to stick in and help out defensively.
Vitas. Valeri! Timbers open the scoring!
They've been prodding and prodding down that left-hand side as Vitas has grown into this game, and his quality has been getting better and better. On this occasion, finds himself in space, and he finds himself that he has a whole lot of Timbers players to pick out from. And you just see that great ball out to Vitas again. It's an early ball, and it's whipped in there with pace, so it allows Vitas to get on the ball and look up and to see his options from there. A nice intricate play from the Timbers through the middle to go out wide again. But look at the numbers they have in the middle. 4 bodies coming in late to make sure that they're timing their run, and 4 bodies hitting different spots in front of that goal to make sure that one of them is getting on the end. And it ends up being the number 8, Diego Valeri. Easy goal for Valeri in the end.
And with the head as well, don't see that too frequently from the Maestro. But he did take the finish well. That's his 3rd goal of the preseason. So Adi, Valeri, each with 3 apiece. Caleb Porter will like that kind of production from those two. Though to be fair, I think we know that those guys are going to produce goals. The hope would be that more is chipped in from other guys in the attack this season.
Well, we talked about it in the opening, and we're saying when opposition are gonna, you can expect close in the middle of the pitch to be able to prevent guys like Valeri, guys like Nagbe from playing through the middle. You need your fullbacks then to start to put that part into the game, crossing balls in. Alvis Powell did it last game. You can see Vitas in this first half, how he's been getting out wide and delivering balls in. And there, it was pinpoint right to Valeri's head.
Spria turns on the Jets down this right side. Almost too quick as his teammates weren't able to keep up with him. Back heel to Valeri. Under pressure finds Chara.
Just wondering how that will do for the morale of the Whitecaps, who've been working so hard to get behind the ball and work and stay compact. Now the Timbers are starting to get open.
Again, Vitas. Adi! Oh, it's like a carbon copy. It's 2.
Well, they found a soft spot in the defense of the Whitecaps, and they're exposing it more and more now. 2v1, Vitas joining in well with Nagbe, and the way Nagbe just sets Vitas on. So Vitas doesn't have to worry about anything else but picking out his man. And doesn't he do that well? He puts it right into the plate of Fernando Adi, who still has a bit to do. Just look how that ball bounces right before Adi takes it on. He has to control the pace coming in there, open up his big size 11 boot to be able to thunder that ball in the back of the net.
The 4th goal of the preseason for Fernando Adi. The 2nd assist for Vitas in just about a minute and a half. And the Timbers 2-0. They loved what they've gotten out of this starting group in the attack, especially all preseason long. Well, that confidence will certainly only continue after this 30 minutes.
Preseason, it's about so many things, about the fitness, it's about Caleb Porter putting in his tactical nuances, his system, making sure they're on the same page. But a big part of it is the relationships, the center-back relationship, the center-back to the holding center midfielders, the center midfielders. But then you look at that wide play. The last game we talked about Blanco and Alvis Powell, their relationship. Well, tonight it's been about Vitas and Nagbe.
De Jong takes the corner. Asprilla, a defensive header. Timbers trying to break again. They're going to have to slow it down.
Well, haven't they gone up a few gears now, the Timbers? Throughout this first half, just trying to figure their way through, trying to figure out the setup of the Whitecaps and where the soft spots were.
A goal will do that for you, won't it?
Big time. What it does to you, the defense, and the new addition to our broadcast team who's standing right beside me, Nat Porchers, I think he'd be the first one to attest. The confidence it gives you when you have something to defend, something to hold on to now, and how precious it is when it's 1 goal. Now you've got 2 goals, you feel as though, right, the strikers have gone and they've done their job. Now it's up to us. We've got to make sure concentration levels, they stay the same, keep everybody organized, make sure we're nice and compact.
If this were March 18th, we'd be able to hear that from Nat himself.
Looking forward
when
to
he
it.
joins us for home games this season as a field analyst. We'll have to make the people wait another month, though, till our first local broadcast of the year. Adi, the back heel to Nagbe. Tons of confidence right now in the Timbers attack.
If you're Carl Robinson, you're looking across your team right now and you're thinking, right, who's going to be my leader? Who's going to step up right now and control this game, or stop the bleeding at least, to go and put in a tackle, to go and try and change the momentum back? And I'm just looking down, and it was Parker, the youngster, the center back for the Whitecaps, starting to point, starting to give instructions, suggestions. Kendall Waston, you expect more out of him now.
Guzman looking for Asprilla. Oh, he did well to bring it down. Guzman from distance was knuckling, but into the belly of Osted.
Didn't think twice, did he? That ball was moving, as you said, a knuckle that Osted had to watch all the way right into the safety of his arms. Seen a little taste of Guzman getting in the attack. Talking about him being that number 6, Diego Chara being that number 8, but I think it's reversible. I think the two will take turns.
He's not afraid to go forward. Hurtado from distance. Gleason watches it go wide of his post. Meanwhile, Alvis Powell down on the pitch. Timbers trainer Nick Wald on the sideline, waiting to see if he needs to be called on. He does not. You mentioned getting back to Guzman. He's not afraid to come forward for sure, and it seems like Chara and Guzman are going to pick and choose who goes when, and already, even in the preseason, they appear to have a pretty strong relationship on the field.
They really do. I think the two of them will enjoy and have a huge amount of respect for each other's game, given what they put in, given how, first and foremost, they love to tackle, but then they don't mind getting in the attack. If a ball drops to them 20 yards out, then they'll take it on.
Off the field as well, from what David Guzman has said, Diego Chara has kind of taken him under his wing. He's introduced him to everybody in the city. He's helping him out with English because Guzman doesn't speak a lot of English, and the families are even hanging out together. David Guzman told the Timbers website that it's getting to the point that now he's considering Diego Chara part of his family. It's been a month.
I think as a manager, you'd love hearing that. Love the thought that when they step outside the pitch, that you could tie them together with a rope as well. Someone I thought you and I could introduce this year, Jake.
We don't need a rope to keep us close together, Ross. Nerwinski, 7th overall pick for Vancouver. He's had a tough task tonight on the right side. On the left now it's Harvey. Couldn't pick out De Jong.
It hasn't quite happened in the attack for the Whitecaps either. Just looking at Erik Hurtado, he hasn't got his touches so far this match.
Barnes, and it's Hurtado running off him. Instead goes wide to De Jong. Davies on the back post. It's easy for Gleason, who will start the break quickly to Vitesse.
See a different area to Guzman's game, and what you'll see more and more of is him sitting in that pocket and being able to hit passes. That one he just hit prior to Vitesse. What a difficult ball that is to hit, and you have to have the courage to be able to go for it as well. Seen him throughout preseason looking for those diagonal balls, and I think if the Timbers can have that in their game where they're bypassing that midfield or spraying it wide with a player like Guzman, opens things up. No real rhythm to the attack of the Whitecaps. No real combination play. I'm just looking at the body language of Hurtado and Barnes, and it doesn't ooze positivity. It doesn't ooze excitement right now. I think they're both trying to figure out who's making what run, where to dip into to get on the ball.
Even first 20 minutes or so, when the Vancouver organization was maybe disrupting the Timbers attack a little bit, still it wasn't like the Whitecaps were causing much pressure getting forward. Certainly since the goal in the 26th minute, it has been pretty comfortable for Portland, it seems.
Go back again to Fredy Montero. How big a signing that could be. I think right away you make that signing, you're almost guaranteeing yourselves goals. Now I know Carl Robinson perhaps won't want to say that to jinx the team, but you look at the amount of goals he scored when he was in the league before. Scored goals when he was in Colombia, scored goals when he went off to Portugal, scored goals when he went to China. And so it's almost as though you have just bought certain goals.
47 goals, 34 assists in 4 seasons in Seattle. Sounders all-time leading scorer still. Nagbe. Vitas. Another dangerous ball played, and this time it was dealt with by Vancouver. Timbers have had a lot of success attacking down the left side with Vitas. Has 2 assists already. Valeri. Adi. That will be a goal kick. Again, to Fredy Montero. Timbers fans, of course, will remember him from his time with Seattle. Left the Sounders after the 2012 season, signed with Sporting Lisbon, huge club in Portugal. He was playing in the Champions League. He had 37 goals, 12 assists, all competitions, before being sold to the Chinese Super League, Tianjin Teda, where he played last year. Scored 9 goals there in China. Now coming back to the States, or at least back to North America in MLS to play for the Whitecaps. Always interesting when you have a player go from one rival to another. Obviously, there's been some time there with Fredy Montero, but could be considered a bit of a Sounders legend, and now will be playing on one of the other sides of the Cascadia rivalry. It was a giveaway by the Timbers. Alejandro Mariscal let play play on momentarily to see if an advantage would materialize. It did not, so he's bringing it back.
Wrong way, Fernando Adi. I think Nagbe breaking off on the left-hand side. Valeri as well wanted the ball back into him. Just seen down on the pitch there, Jake, a few sequences ago when Vancouver won the ball, Caleb Porter just telling the lines, stay nice and compact. And when, I think it was Parker, went to try and hit Harvey and it went over his head, the praise that Adi got for putting that pressure under, but you could see the distance from Adi to the back line, about 30 yards, 25, 30 yards. It was nice and compact and gave Vancouver very little to try and hit and work out.
Nagbe. Again down the left side go the Timbers. Guzman, Vitas, back to Nagbe. Very patient from Portland here. Guzman didn't quite get through to Valeri. Esprit, I think he was trying to go wide to Powell. Instead, it's Adi. Shot was blocked.
They're hanging on there, the Whitecaps. The Timbers, the nice intricate passing again, and it's the swiftness of it as well. And it's the speed of play in the mind as well, and how quickly they see things.
Impressive to me how easily and quickly David Guzman has gotten on the same page as Darlington Nagbe, Fernando Adi, Diego Valeri, and certainly what we saw last week with Sebastian Blanco, the same can be said.
I don't know if I'm being insensitive in the whole myth that it takes players from different cultures time to settle in to the leagues. I think it depends on the character. It does depend on the style of play as well, but if you get the right characters in your team, it shouldn't take long.
Powell maybe wanting an assist of his own from the right side. It's Vitas, who has 2 tonight. Both the goals from the Timbers. Diego Valeri in the 26th, Fernando Adi in the 28th. Coming off of crosses from the left side by Vitas.
You just look at the fullbacks for the Timbers. Vitas right up along that defensive line. Albus Powell, similar. He was just making a run along their defensive line. That shows you the confidence the Timbers have in possession.
Direct from Laba. Ridgewell knotted it down into space. Timbers win it back.
Just strolled through the first half, Ridgewell and Olam. Olam was providing nice cover there for Ridgewell, but it's been easy street for them.
Powell to Asprilla, just a little bit ahead of Dairon. Again, Timbers win it right back. Laba intercepts. Vancouver will try to break as the first half winds to a close. Hurtado around Chara. Barnes was trying to leave it for Hurtado, who was down on the pitch.
Just look at that defensive transition there. How quickly the Timbers players got back and how quickly they swarmed the ball that the Whitecaps all of a sudden got the ball. They're looking up the pitch. They're trying to get runners involved into the attack, but the Timbers, there was a lot more green shirts than there were white.
There will be no stoppage time in the first half. A tidy first 45 for the Portland Timbers. Goals 2 minutes apart from Diego Valeri and Fernando Adi, both off crosses from Vitas, have given the Timbers a 2-0 lead over their Cascadia rivals. We will take a break for halftime. We'll come back with first half highlights and the second half kick from a rainy Providence Park at halftime. Portland 2, Vancouver 0. Portland, Oregon, we are at halftime of the final match of the Timbers preseason tournament. Portland, a 2-0 lead over their Cascadia rivals, the Vancouver Whitecaps, at halftime. I'm Jake Sivan alongside Ross Smith. It was the first 45 minutes that Caleb Porter certainly going to be pleased with. Goals 2 minutes apart, but really just overall control from the home team.
I really liked how the Timbers figured things out. The first 15 minutes, it wasn't quite coming off for them in terms of going forward and them finding the holes that they were hoping for. But then once they started to find the soft spot, which ended up being down that left-hand side of the Timbers attack, the right-hand side of the defense of the Whitecaps, they really exposed them, didn't they? And the way the 2 goals came about in that fashion with Vitas, Nagbe combining and Fernando Wadi runners, Valeri getting in the box, I thought was so impressive. Defensively, I thought it was safe. I thought it was easy street for the Timbers. Not much to deal with in terms of problems from the Whitecaps.
As we look at the first half highlights, we're going to start way back before the first goal was scored. A 15-pass sequence that led to Diego Valeri's 26-minute header.
Well, you talk about the technical ability, the imagination, creativity, and the courage of this Timbers team on the ball. Caleb Porter said this is one of the most technical teams that I have managed, and you could see why from this goal. 15 passes, that sequence, you look at it, everybody gets the taste of the ball, everybody gets their touches in, and then when the ball goes into Vitas, it's laid in, he's got 4 guys to pick out. He's got the runners coming in, and so that confidence, when the Timbers are in possession, they know they can send runners in there. Even Diego Chavez trying to get in on the action, and Diego Valeri, he makes it look easy. He still has a bit to do, though. He's got to direct this ball, get enough power behind it to steer it into the side netting. And then Fernando Adi, just look how he checks his run here. Kendall Washington, I think he's out of position here. He's pulled out, he's ball watching, and he's not dealing with that first stick. He's not dealing with this ball. And Fernando Wadi, he just comes back ever so slightly towards that ball, and still, he's got a bit to do. That ball on this surface tonight with the rain coming down, it's coming in at such a pace. It skips up, but he's there with the contact. He's got good contact, and he just harnesses the pace on the ball to steer it into the net. 2-0.
Vitas, Darlington, Nagbe both credited with an assist on each of the goals. Nagbe with a second assist on each of those goals, just 2 minutes 19 seconds apart from Diego Valeri and Fernando Wadi. The Timbers with a 2-0 lead over Vancouver. And this, I think it's fair to say, Ross, continues a trend that we've seen as you see a pair of Costa Rican national teammates embracing at halftime, Kendall Waston and David Guzman. Continues a trend that we've seen this preseason tournament. When the first choice 11, or what's as close to first choice 11 as you can get based on availability, is out there for the Timbers, they've looked really comfortable. They've looked, I don't want to say regular season form because there's 2.5 weeks to go, but they've looked really good.
I thought with this preseason, this would be the strongest test for the Timbers, their attack, just given the organization of Carl Robinson's team in the past and how he'll get his players to work hard for them. And now as you build into the season a couple of weeks away, I thought this is going to be a strong test for them. They've made it look easy. And I think what Caleb Porter has in this team is different ways to hurt you. If they can go into Fernando Wadi, so be it. Let Adi try and soften up the centre backs, play off him, get the ball to Valeri. Can he start spraying his passes, looking for all those little seams? Darlington Nagbe, he can run it, guys. You could go right through the team, that front 6, even put the fullbacks in there. There's different ways that this Timbers team can hurt you. So if one way's not working, well, they can go at it another way. With this Vancouver Whitecaps team, I think there's a little bit of a worry. Even though there's some big names not out there for them tonight, it's lackluster. There's a lack of imagination here, and so I think that's this second half. Carl Robinson will want to see a reaction.
In the first half, it was the same way that the Timbers scored both of their goals. Down the left side, Darlington Nagbe feeding Vitas, sending it into the box for either Diego Valeri or Fernando Wadi. It's 2-0 as we begin the second half. The Timbers and the Whitecaps from Providence Park.
Yeah, right away, Jake, we see a couple changes.
Yep.
Jacobson, the number 8 for the Whitecaps, going in the middle. Reyna, the new signing for the Vancouver Whitecaps. He's looked bright. He's looked lively so far in this preseason.
No changes from the Timbers. From Vancouver, 2 changes as Andrew Jacobson comes on for Russell Tybert in the defensive midfield. And Jordi Reyna has come on for Marcel de Jong. Barnes has shifted out to the left. Reyna has moved into the middle of the Vancouver attack. Vancouver coming forward to begin the second half. Davies. Jacobson. Nerwinski. Vidas comes over, rides Nerwinski into touch, and it will be a goal kick for Portland.
Yeah, as well marshaled out by Vitas, just got his arm up. He was able to put his body in the way and just usher that ball across the end line. I'd like to see more of Alphonso Davies. I think a few times him getting on the ball, it looked promising. It looked as though he could go and create, but he had nobody to sort of work off of. As soon as he was getting on the ball, Nagbe was helping out Vitas to double team. Just need Davies to combine with other players to create some openings, because he looks as though he's got plenty of pace to offer.
A lot of hype for him, just 16 years old, both for Vancouver's sake, for the Canadian national team's sake as well. What do you make of Alphonso Davies?
I think tremendous promise, and I really like what Carl Robinson has said in the press is we have to protect him. We have to make sure he progresses at the right pace, and while these big clubs can come in for him, he wouldn't be able to go off to these big clubs, not until he's 18 years old because of FIFA rules. He wouldn't be able to go off and live across in Europe unless it was for family reasons, business reasons. That's the only way he could go. So you know you're going to have him for a couple years anyways to be here and to really grow and really to become a big name for this Whitecaps team.
Adi is down behind the play. And Ridgewell slides in and will be shown the first yellow card of this match.
Well, he knows what he's doing here, I think, Ridgewell. He sees that their striker is down injured at the other end, that the ball was going to be played out, that the Whitecaps were going to continue on, and Ridgewell decided to get a whistle for himself.
Adi stays down as Timbers training staff comes out to check on the big man. 4 goals this preseason, including 1 tonight.
It's just that forearm going into the back of Fernando Adi. I think it was fair play by Jacobson. He was entitled to go for the ball. Wasn't using his arm as a weapon, it was more as leverage.
Diego Valeri scored the opener today. Here's the Timbers' upcoming schedule. Of course, see the match tonight on there. One more match in the preseason. It's at Los Angeles. That's Saturday the 25th against the Galaxy, an 8 p.m. start, the final tune-up before the Timbers open up the entire MLS slate against Minnesota on March 3rd. 6:30 start right here on a Friday night at Providence Park. Fox Sports 1 national broadcast, first game of the year. There's Eric Hurtado. Nerwinski did well. First time to get that to Jacobson. Now here is the 16-year-old Alphonso Davies. Nerwinski overlaps. Vitas strong one-on-one defending, and it'll be a goal kick for Portland.
It's good defending by Vitas. I think that'll be part of his game that he'll look to really try and strengthen this year, is his 1v1 defending. I'm interested to see his progression this year, Jake, now that he'll have a preseason under his belt. He'll have a full season. He'll know what this town's all about. He'll know what being a Portland Timbers all about, whereas last year he was kind of thrust into things, and he did stabilize that left-back position, but you'd almost want him to see him go on another level. I think the Timbers been almost spoiled with a Jorge Villafania before. That's now the standard. The expectation of that position is that level of play.
Ability to go forward and to defend. Well, we've certainly seen Vitas' ability to go forward in this match. 2 assists. We knew he could do it from last year as well. Likes to play high up the pitch. Finding Valeri now. Waston is well outside of where he likes to be, in the middle of the penalty area. Hurtado bumps Ridgewell. And referee Alejandro Mariscal says play on. The Timbers will do that. Valeri into Adi. Tried to juggle around Waston and draws a free kick.
I think he was looking for it here, Fernando Adi. Just flick the ball up Wasson. How much Wasson has put into the body of Adi didn't look like enough to send Adi to the ground, but he's won the free kick.
Valeri and Guzman in the vicinity.
Just wondering whether he's asking Guzman for Valeri to touch it to him.
He can hit it from distance. He can take free kicks, Guzman can. A lot of options on this Timbers team. You know, Nagbe loves it kind of right in that 20, 25-yard range. This will be all Valeri. To the near post. Osted had to get a touch.
Well, he threatened whether it was outside the post, and Osted just had to be sure. He's touched it enough to just go back to that foul before. I think there was a whole lot in it, but it won the free kick for Valeri to come in. Difficult to tell from that angle whether Osted got a touch.
Guzman will take this corner. He goes short to Valeri, then he overlaps. Wasn't quite the ball that Guzman wanted. Timbers will reset in the back. Ridgewell, direct for Adi. Flag comes up. He's offside. Never involved in the play, so play not actually stopped. Adi would have been in an offside position if he had collected the ball. And a foul now on Laba. Or maybe it was Jacobson whistled. Reyna. Laba back to Jordi Reyna.
He certainly looks to have a spark about him, doesn't he, Reyna?
New addition to the team this year. Barnes into the box. It's over everybody's head. Easy for Vitas to get clear, only as far as Nerwinski. Davies. Jacobson. Reyna. Tried to draw a foul. Wasn't called. Timbers will break. Davies tracking back. It looks like it's off the 16-year-old. It'll be a Timbers throw. Jordi Reyna, one of really just two significant signings, you could say, for Vancouver in the offseason. The other this morning, we've talked about it a lot on this broadcast, Freddie Montero. Reyna's 23 years old. He's from Peru. Played most recently 3 seasons with Red Bull Salzburg in Austria. Scored 14 goals in just 41 matches over those 3 seasons. Nagbe draws the foul. We'll have a free kick from a similar spot, a little further back, similar angle.
Blood starting to boil a little bit more. There's definitely contact. Just wonder whether Reyna's feeling as though he got a bit of the ball. But Nagbe, as he was just trying to spin the ball out of trouble, Reyna was coming right through him.
Valeri. I didn't get it over Hurtado.
Well,
Nagbe keeps it with the Timbers.
Yeah, it was something different there, Jake, because Fernando Adi wasn't going in the mix. He pulled himself away, so whether that's something off the training ground they were trying to orchestrate.
Adi Nerwinski down, and Adi's called for a foul. Possible that they were trying to draw Kendall Waston out of the mix by hoping he would go with Adi?
Well, I wonder, because he didn't. I was looking for Waston. It was Alfonso Davies who was closest to Adi, whether it was to try and present that as a decoy, that the ball would go into somewhere else to maybe pop off to Fernando Adi.
Here's Nagbe. Now Valeri. I tried it from distance. It was ambitious, and it's a souvenir for the Timbers Army.
Yeah, Jacobson did well there. Though as soon as Valeri was getting himself into an area that was strike range, Jacobson was coming across.
David Guzman has taken a seat on the turf on the near side. It's in front of the Timbers bench. Nick Wald, Alex Margarito, Timbers training staff has come over to check on the Costa Rican midfielder.
Just pointing to the outside of his left foot there. I always get a bit worried, Jake, whenever a player like a Guzman, and we've only seen a little bit of him, but you get the idea that he's a hard-nosed, strong player who would play through anything, and whenever those types of players stay down for an extra second, I think there's always a little bit of extra worry that goes on. So as Guzman was on the ball, nice little bit of skill as he sets Nagbe on his way. This is where Guzman, he pulls it up. He just feels a little twinge and wants to get it looked at.
It appears that he will remain in the match as he walks towards the fourth official. And now he is allowed to re-enter the pitch. So a good sight, good news for Timbers supporters. Vitas has Nagbe making a run. He picks him out. And another corner kick coming for Portland, their fifth of the match.
Good stuff again from the Timbers. Nagbe, just how he changes his balance so quickly as Wasson was right on his back. A couple of fresh challenges it looks like we're going to see, Jake.
And we're going to get 3 substitutions before the corner kick. You see Renico Clark, big young center back, Darren Maddox, and Victor Arboleda getting ready to come into the match for the Timbers. Fernando Adi, Dairon Asprilla, and Liam Ridgewell will come off. So it's Maddox for Adi, Arboleda for Asprilla, and Clark for Ridgewell. 60 minutes from the trio. And now some youth in Arboleda and Clark, and even Maddox onto the pitch for the Timbers. Valeri's corner to the near post. And we'll get the 6th corner kick of the match. This one again handled at the near post, and a 7th corner upcoming. Dealt with by Vancouver, and they spring Reyna into space.
Well, Darren Maddox running up top. I think Renico Clark coming in, sitting where Ridgewell was, right in beside Lawrence Holm, and then Arboleda on the other side. That is the one I'm really interested to see. Jake, just to see how he uses his minutes now. I think in the last match against Minnesota, the opening 15 minutes, he was absolutely electric. He was having his way with the right back of Minnesota, and he was playing as though he had a care in the world, but then he went away from it. He fizzled out for the rest of that half. But you just think with him and what he showed with his feet and his ability to get in behind, whether it was with his runs, whether it was with his dribble off the ball, you want to see more of that. He'll be wanting to stake his claim to make sure that he's first off the bench. I think a player like that, he won't like the fact that Tyrone Asprilla started tonight with the absence of Blanco. He'll be thinking, right, I want to be that next guy to come in.
There's a lot of competition at that spot for the Timbers on the depth chart. So Vancouver has made its trio of substitutions. Nerwinski, Davies, and Hurtado out of the match. Shannon Williams, who came over from Houston in the offseason. Kekuta Mane and Christian Techera in for Vancouver.
Just another one, Jake, with Renico Clark. I think with him, the big frame, or the tall frame rather, if he can impose himself more, I think for him to realize the strength as he goes more and more will be to win the balls, to win his tackles, to be a nice and commanding center back. And his first header there was nice and strong. I thought against Minnesota a couple of times he was bullied off the ball. That should never happen for a center back, and that's part of his learning experience. But for him to use these minutes just to make sure he's nice and commanding.
Renico Clark's 21 years old, played for T2 each of the past 2 seasons, signed to the first team in the offseason, still relatively new to the game of soccer, only started playing seriously at 16. He's from Jamaica, grew up actually very close to Alvis Powell, played against Alvis Powell when they were essentially high school aged. But he was more a cricket guy, a track and field guy until the age of 16 when he decided, well, I could do something in this soccer game. Signed with T2 at 19 and now a member of the first team. Kuzma brought down hard. And a yellow card shown to Matthias Laba.
Well, he stuck one in him there, Laba, on Guzman. Whether it warranted a yellow card or not, Laba felt it was a bit harsh. Just wondered. Laba quite clearly saying to the referee, look where the ball is. Feeling as though he won it. I think for the Whitecaps, you're seeing more what you expect to see come, whether it's their CCL matches or the start to the season with Kekuta Mane coming in the team, Techera. Obviously, the big name, Freddie Montero, how quickly he'll get up to speed.
Vitas looking for Maddox. Maddox playing against his former team. Spent his first 4 seasons in the league with Vancouver, scored 19 goals between 2012 and 2015. Came to the Timbers very early last season and pretty much the second week of the year.
It'll be interesting to see how the style changes for the Timbers when Maddox goes in the game. Fernando Adi can come back towards the ball. He can put his back into the chest of centre backs. Whereas Maddox, his game more running in behind. Yeah, he can come back and he can set balls off. But for him, his lightning pace in behind can really stretch a team.
Powell coming down the right side. Nagbe with the head. We've already seen a Valeri header goal. I think it'd be maybe asking too much from the soccer gods to get a Nagbe one in the same match.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Nagbe to generate enough power. He was going more for placement here. Just realizing he was standing still, waiting for that ball to come. You can see the direction that he's trying to get with it. Quite an easy stave for Ousted in the end.
We did highlight it, though, in the beginning of this broadcast. Service from Alvis Powell.
Yeah.
We've seen it from the left side today. 2 goals from Vitas. It's a good ball there from Powell.
He's picking guys out. He's not just looking to get the ball in the air. He's actually looking for teammates. And that may sound simple, but when you're starting to feel more confident, that's when you start being as fine as you can with your passing.
Here's Arboleda. Maybe took too long to get that shot off. It's Nagbe. And it's easy for Ousted in the end.
Well, I think it'll be important for the manager, Porter, to make sure that the drum keeps beating along, that while you make these changes in the team, you want to see the dominance in the game continue. And it certainly started that way with the introduction of these subs. Good opportunity for Nagbe.
Reyna towards Teixeira, who was not on the same page.
There's no real movement complementing one another for the Whitecaps going forward. Just looking when Reyna got on the ball, and then Barnes, Teixeira. It was Mane as well. They were standing still. They were almost waiting to see what Reyna was going to do instead of movement going off of him. Just look right now. Parker on the ball. Look how many players are just standing still. Jacobson's trying to instruct. He's trying to tell Laba to go towards the ball. He's just looking for anything.
Harvey. Teixeira runs onto it. One-on-one with Olam. There's nobody in the box for Vancouver. Nagbe swarmed and fouled by Shanan Williams.
Shanan Williams just quickly threw an arm at the referee, unhappy, and then realized himself it's an initiative this year from the referees to make sure that the body language dissent isn't there, the visual dissent. Referees are told they're not going to stand for it this year.
Big switch from Lawrence Olam. Williams rises up to win it for Vancouver. Guzman lets it run out for a throw. Christian Teixeira. Vancouver looking for Giles Barnes. That's a dangerous ball from Vitas. Gleason was quick to react.
I thought Renacle Clark handled that one well. There was a big gap between him and Olam. The ball going in between there. Your back's turned. You're having to go make a play on the ball. Did well.
Jacobson gets in between Guzman and Valeri, but it's a heavy touch. And then another heavy touch from Reyna. Chara into space for Powell. Valeri on the back post. Into Nagbe. Valeri! It was spilled by Osted! Oh, he made a great second save. Well, that combination from the Timbers, delightful.
Well, it's how the Timbers played out of trouble. They worked it down the left-hand side, got themselves out of trouble, released Avis Powell, who's picked his head up to see Valeri, and now this fine bit of play. Valeri puts it into Nagbe, and then it's moving off of him. You have to say it's a great save by Osted in the end. Does get across, he does make himself big, but wonderful play from the Timbers from back to front.
8th corner of the match to the near post. Barnes was able to handle. $10,286 in attendance on a chilly and rainy Wednesday night. The rain has not let up throughout this entire match. It's raining pretty much all day here in Portland. Just the way the Timbers, at least the Timbers Army, likes it. Vidas flicks into space for Maddox. Now Williams comes back. Vidas. Now Williams' run, Maddox's run was cut off by Williams, and Alejandro Mariscal has called a foul.
Great opportunity for Lawrence Olam or Renico Clark to get their tally in the Timbers jersey here. Just see them having a little conversation with each other, probably saying, wait, you go near, I go far.
Guzman drove it to the near post. Vidas. Now Valeri. Guzman, back to Valeri. Maddox! They look like they're in regular season form, Ross.
And they're generous, aren't they? Because everybody is sharing the ball. Everyone's getting a little taste of it. Vitas is having a great game tonight, both defensively but in the attack as well. Look at the movement from Diego Valeri, putting it into Guzman, and we talk about his ability to get in the attack and be able to affect the game. Nice little bit of trickery.
Now Vancouver coming forward. Kekuta Mane. It was clean from Chara. Timbers can have 3-on-1 on the right side if they want.
He wanted him to keep going there, Alvis Powell. If you looked up Arboleda versus Harvey, Arbeleda's going to have him for pace. That's why I almost think if you're Arboleda, yeah, you're a young, nice guy, you need to turn around and tell Alvis Powell, I'm not happy with you. Get me the ball. I've only got half an hour here to impress, and I need moments like that.
Guzman, composed. Here they come again. Powell, Osted way off his line. He was able to get there. That was dangerous.
Gamble, big time gamble. Because Alvis Powell did get there first. Osted, he led with his feet. You look at just how he's dove out there, and that is one you absolutely have to get right.
Maddox. Arboleda was making a near post run.
Cutting through him like butter. A hot knife to butter, and I'm looking at Wallstrom right now. He is looking up at his team wondering what is going on.
Well, that came off the face of Diego Valeri. And immediately, Nick Wald, Timbers trainer, is going to come out.
Timbers again, they worked it well down their left-hand side of the attack, creating openings there. Maddox running in behind. See, as the Timbers eventually they win it back, go for the attack, and then as Vancouver Whitecaps were trying to clear it, Diego Valeri takes it right off the head. Just looking down on the pitch right now, though, Jake, and it's awfully quiet amongst the Whitecaps players. A lot of conversations going on, and that's where I think if things aren't going your way, you start to get around a few players. You start to get in the ear if you're a leader of a few of your men, telling them what you need more of.
You can see Timbers trainer Nick Wald calling for a substitution for Diego Valeri. We're at the point, I think, in the preseason match where you just want to get out of this without any injuries. Always one of the primary goals of the preseason. See Jack Barmby looks like he's ready to come on for Valeri. Valeri back to his feet. Jack Barmby getting an embrace with the opposing head coach, Carl Robinson, before coming on. Vancouver will make a couple substitutions as well. So Barmby for Valeri, the substitution. And you see Vancouver getting Kyle Gregg and Christian Dean ready to come on. It's Barnes and Parker leaving for Vancouver.
We're looking forward to seeing Christian Dean for the Whitecaps. He's had a tough go with injuries, but I think in terms of his frame, what he can offer as a centre back, decent on the ball, decent pace. Just wondering where they'll push for a starting position, especially given David Edgar. Terrible injury for him, a hit and run in Scottsdale, Arizona, required him to have knee surgery in the off-season in December, and so a big player that the Whitecaps brought in are going to be without till what it sounds like the fall time. So what an opportunity that is for Christian Dean.
Christian Dean, former number 3 overall pick in the Super Draft 2014. As Ross mentioned, struggled with injuries. He's only gotten 9 games. And in the meantime, another young center back, Tim Parker, has really stepped up for Vancouver and taken that spot next to Kendall Waston as his own. Parker, Vancouver's first-round pick in the next Super Draft, 2015. So Dean and Parker picked a year apart. Christian Dean, part of an athletic family. Very interesting story. His biological brother is Josh Hustis, who's an NBA player, plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder, was a star at Stanford. They were born in Texas, and then their mother put them both up for adoption. They were adopted separately, but maintained a relationship with their biological mother and maintained a relationship with each other. And they both turned out to be first-round draft picks in their respective sports. Vancouver will have a dangerous free kick. Reyna Teixeira over it for the Whitecaps. Teixeira would be the left-footed option. Reyna the right-footed option. It's Teixeira! It's brilliant from Christian Teixeira, and Vancouver has pulled one back.
Well, what a great hit this is. I think there's very little that Gleason can do about this, because this ball is right in the top bin. Here's the initial foul, and the referee has seen a bit of a push. I think you could have a case of Irenico Clark thinking the pushing was going both ways, but the free kick, take nothing away from Teixeira, because he puts it right in that top bin. And all of a sudden there's a game to be played, 2-1.
Dominant first half from the Timbers. Really a pretty dominant second half as well. You have to say that's the first time Jake Gleason was tested tonight. And it was certainly brilliant from Teixeira. And again, Kyle Gregg draws a foul. Gregg signed by Vancouver from their USL team, Whitecaps FC2 this offseason. Has played his entire previous career in the lower levels. Last year with Whitecaps FC2, 2 years before that with Oklahoma City. His first gig was with Wilmington in 2013, the Hammerheads. Now getting his first MLS deal.
Looks as though that goal has sprung the Whitecaps to life, and all of a sudden now they're looking at that score line, trying to be as realistic as possible and to think, can we get something out of this?
Reyna turns. Teixeira Reyna has stayed down, and Vancouver will just send it out.
He's caught him, Clark, as he's come through the back. Did look, though, that he got the ball first. It's a worrying moment here. Just Reyna looks in a bit of pain. That ball, as it comes loose, Clark just going in. He just seems to catch Reyna. Whether there was a foul there as Reyna was just spinning on the ball. Clark's just come through the back of him.
Rain continues to fall here at Providence Park. 2 first-half goals from the Timbers put them up 2-0 at halftime. Diego Valeri and Fernando Adi, their 3rd and 4th goals of the preseason, respectively. But just minutes ago, Christian Techera, 25-yard free kick, has made this a game in the final minutes of this match.
That's tough to see. Reyna, he's got his boot off. He tried to get up onto his feet there, just put a bit of weight on it. Shake of the head tells you.
Vancouver, I believe, does not have any field player subs left on their bench. They do have Paolo Tornaghi, the backup goalkeeper, but they have used everybody that they had listed on their bench as a substitute in this match. Unless they get somebody down from the suites, appears that they're going to have to finish this match down a man. And that, obviously, for Vancouver, is not a sight that they want to see in the preseason. One of their marquee offseason signings, Jordy Reyna.
Yeah, Carl Robinson not happy. The angle that we saw with Clark Colwood in there, it didn't look as though he was going towards the ball. He's come in hard. He looked to have caught him. Reyna, the referee, didn't blow up for a foul. He was allowing, whether he was allowing play to continue or whether he had judged Clark to get a touch on the ball.
I don't believe he signaled for advantage. Arboleda very well to flick it over Williams and draw the foul. This is gonna be a yellow card, it appears, on Shannon Williams. It is indeed 3rd of the match, 2nd to a white cap. Arboleda again causing problems. Williams was up to the task that time. Guzman splits a couple Whitecaps defenders to pick out Barmby. Now it's Powell. Nagbe tried to leave it for Barmby. It was broken up well by Vancouver.
Again from Guzman, though, that's so incisive. What a difference that makes when you can slice a pass right through the midfield of the opposition. And Barmby, he knew what his new teammate was capable of. He just put himself in a nice pocket.
Powell coming inside. Just a little bit behind Chara. Elvis Powell tries to draw a foul. Vancouver's Jordy Reyna, who's out of this match, is certainly not going to re-enter, being wheeled to the locker room in a wheelchair right now.
It's tough to see, isn't it? Big disappointment. As you said, that's the #1 priority for managers, is to have a healthy Bill at the end of your preseason matches.
So Vancouver will finish out this match down a man, as they have used everybody on their bench, all the field players on their bench. But more, I think, of concern to Vancouver and its supporters is the health of Jordy Reyna. Guzman again splits the lines to pick out Barmby. Nagbe wasn't making the run. It was clever from Barmby. Maddox gets it for Portland. Powell. There's room for Powell. It's still Powell. Still Elvis Powell. And he has won a corner kick.
It was good composure from Elvis Powell because he didn't have any runners in the box. He didn't have anybody to pick out. So he decided just to keep hold of it, keep it nice and close to his feet and get something out of it.
Barmby, that came off, I think, Christian Dean, maybe Kendall Waston, but either way, it'll be corner kick number 10 for Portland tonight. 10-2 in corners, 17-2 in shots. It's only 2-1 on the scoreboard, but it doesn't really tell the story of this match. Waston wins the header, falls to Chara. He was looking for Guzman. It was read well by Vancouver. Mane. Back to Dean. Barmby looking for Maddox.
Thumbs up from Maddox. It was a good spot by Jack Barmby. Just didn't quite get enough height on the ball, enough distance on it to take it over the hulking head of Kendall Waston. Just looking at the Whitecaps, Jake, I haven't seen an awful lot of Kekuta Manneh. I think there'll be a lot expected out of him this season if the Whitecaps are going to push for a playoff position.
He didn't start tonight, Kekuta Manneh. He's played about a half hour. That came off Vitas. Shouts for a handball. That is reviewable. Video assistant refereeing in play in this tournament. There's a VAR constantly checking what's happening on the field. So if that was a handball, he'd be able to see it. Cross into the box. It's caught by Gleason. There'll be 3 minutes of stoppage time. Minimum of 3 minutes left in this match. Dean wants that back for sure.
I was just watching, Jake, just how the Timbers defense, they were screening. Guzman was doing so well just to make sure that he was getting in the pathways, and same with Diego Chara, just dropping off a little bit deeper than what Guzman was placing himself, but Chara just there as that safety net as well. But just the spacing of it gave very little for lines for the Whitecaps to find a pass.
Chara came forward to win it. So we head towards the end of this match. Arboleda, oh, he was looking for Maddox. He gets it back. Arboleda, right at Osted. He bobbled it. He was able to recover in the end. He's had a couple of bright moments, Victor Arboleda, once again tonight.
Yeah, Jordan Harvey was just scrambling across there to make up for Kendall Wasserman getting out of position, or going in there and not winning the challenge, rather. What I like about Arboleda is that he's always looking to go beyond, whether it's knocking the ball one way and sprinting after it, whether it's off the dribble, but he's always looking up the pitch and he's looking to see ways that he can get at the defense.
Coming back defensively here, Williams to Chara trying to turn. Clark came away with it, then Chara did, got it to Nagbe. Chara's continuing his run forward. Nagbe will go with him, sends it into the corner for Maddox. Former teammates staring each other in the eyes. Darren Maddox, Kendall Waston, and Maddox has won a throw for the Timbers.
Well, I think what you're seeing there is game management, and even though 3 points don't matter, the win ultimately doesn't matter. But Darren Maddox recognizing, right, this is realistic. Let me take it to the corner, let me sit on this ball, and make sure it's as far away from our own goal as possible.
It looked like it came off a Whitecaps player. That was not the call. Alvis Powell's whistled for a foul in midfield. That's, I think, what Caleb Porter's going to want out of this match is treating it, we talked about this all match, treating it like it's a realistic situation.
Well, the Timbers haven't won in preseason yet, and I think you want to start creating those habits. You want to start getting in the mindset of what 3 points feels like, what it's like to be better than the other team you're up against. So you start to get into that mindset as you draw closer to the season.
And that is the first win of the preseason for the Portland Timbers. And the only win of this preseason tournament, the Timbers defeating the Whitecaps 2-1. A win, 2-1 in goals, 18-2 in shots, 10-2 in corner kicks. It was controlled by Portland from the beginning, a confidence-inducing performance.
I like the word you used there, controlled, because it felt like the Timbers were in control for the entirety of the match. And I look at the Timbers and their ability on the ball, but defensively how hard they worked, and they were always putting a foot in. Look at just how they're suffocating the attack for the Whitecaps, and then when they get on the ball, how they play out. You look at that, get on the ball to Valeri, they spray it out to Alvis Powell, but here again, when Alvis Powell puts the ball in, he's picked out Valeri. It's not just a hopeful ball, and then the runner's getting up the pitch and the combination play. You look where Nagbe started that play, he was helping to win the ball back, and then all of a sudden he's in the 18, and he's helping to create this chance, and Darren Maddox unlucky. If it wasn't for a fantastic leap and save from Osted, that ball would be tucked in. But continually the Timbers look to play. And there's David Guzman, there's your holding center midfielder, spinning out, doing a little bit of trickling, maybe a little bit of swagger almost for him. And again, a great chance from the Timbers, but that's what stood out to me tonight, was their swagger on the ball and the willingness for every single player to get involved. 2
assists from the man you just saw, Vitas. There's a pair of former teammates, Pa-Modou Kah, Alvis Powell. Pa-Modou Kah now a part of the technical side of things for Vancouver after retiring last season. A mentor of sorts when he was here, including to what at the time was an even younger Alvis Powell. And clearly continuing that good relationship. Jake Gleason, not much he could do on the goal. Christian Techera will rightfully make the highlight tapes with the 25-yard free kick that was really, I think, the only bright spot of the match for Vancouver. Looking at it from a Vancouver perspective, this is a team we're going to see 3 times. The Timbers will see 3 times. A huge rival, of course, and it seems like maybe some work to do. Is that fair to say for Vancouver, or is it not fair to judge off this match?
I think you need to. I think you have to judge. You have to look at it and see, right, where are the areas of worry? Where are the areas that we feel okay about? I think Freddie Montero, a lot of expectations for him to come in, and it's amazing how one piece can all of a sudden change things right the way through world football. Any club in any part of the world, if you have a big player who can impact the game, all of a sudden it can lift everybody else's game. I think a worry will be Yordi Reyna, how he's going to be after his injury tonight, how quick he'll hopefully be back on the pitch for the Whitecaps.
Third member of our broadcast team, Samantha Eric, is standing by with Timbers head coach Caleb Porter.
Thanks, guys. Caleb, final tune-up here at Providence Park before the season opener. A lot seemed to click for the Timbers tonight. What stood out to you, and do you feel confident the group is closer to where you want it to be come March 3rd?
Absolutely. We knew coming into this game we had 2 games left to prepare for March 3rd, and I thought you saw in that first half a team that's looking ready to start the season. Second half disintegrated a little bit. We got some young guys in there. Wish we would have scored more goals. With as much as we dominated the game, we should have had more than 2 goals.
First time some of the guys played a full 90 for you this season. How did they manage the minutes? Were you happy with what they did tonight?
Yeah, thought they managed it really well. You know, in some ways the game was too easy. You know, to be honest with you, the first half, you know, the game was over, it looked like, and I wanted to push a little bit more in that second half, and, you know, it just seemed like the game was going to go that way, the flow and such, but I was pleased. I mean, you can only play the game that's in front of you, and ultimately I thought we were by far the better team today.
The game was another opportunity for you to see some of the depth of this group. Are you just as encouraged as you were at the end of last game about this team and the roster that you have?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we got the young guys in again, and it's about getting the minutes. You know, Renico gives up the foul on the goal, so he's got to learn from those situations. And the only way you learn is you put him in the game. You put him in front of the crowd, and you know, hopefully he'll do better next time.
Caleb, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys?
Thanks, Sam. The Timbers with a 2-1 win over Vancouver. Here's a look at how it went down. 26th minute, this a 15-pass sequence from the Timbers ended with Vitas finding the head of Diego Valeria.
Yeah, there was real gusto, there was real verve about the Timbers play in that first half as they got into it and they started to find out the weakness in Vancouver's defense. And it was down that right-hand side of the defense for the Whitecaps, and great play by Vitas, continuing to get forward and to get into strong positions. His combination play with Nagbe, I think, will delight Caleb Porter, and this finish from Fernando Adi, he looks in mid-season form. Just how he takes this on, it's whipped in from Vitas. You see Adi, he just checks his run, he comes back towards the ball, and as it bounces right in front of him, that's a difficult ball to try and control, especially on this surface, but he made it look easy.
Goals 2 minutes and 19 seconds apart for the Timbers in the first half. And then in the 80 minutes, Christian Techera pulls one back for Vancouver.
It really was special. It was always going away from Jake Gleason, as Gleason is the strong point to his game is just shot stopping, but nothing he could do about that one there as Techera sticks it in the top pin and gives the Whitecaps a chance to get back in the game.
But really the only chance to speak up for Vancouver as the Timbers get a 2-1 win. The season opener league-wide, and certainly for the Portland Timbers, Friday, March 3rd, a 6:30 start right here at Providence Park. You can watch that match. National TV, Fox Sports 1. One more preseason match for the Timbers. Before that one, they will take on the LA Galaxy, 8 o'clock on Saturday, February 25th, in about a week and a half. You can watch that match streaming on Timbers.com. That's all for us tonight from Providence Park. For Ross Smith and Samantha Eric and our entire crew here at Providence Park, I'm Jake Zivin saying good night from Portland. Final score, Timbers 2, Whitecaps 1.